Right now, as you watch this, there's a good chance you're in your quiet corner. Maybe you're tucked under a blanket, the world outside is dark, and the only light is the warm glow of the screen in your hand. You've been scrolling for a while, and in the back of your mind, there's that tiny, nagging voice. You know the one. It whispers that you're wasting time, that you should be out there making memories, or at least being productive. But what if I told you that this moment, this quiet, solitary scroll, is one of the most important things you'll do all day? In our modern hustle culture, we are obsessed with the idea of presence. If you aren't physically at a social event, you're missing out. If you aren't working on a side hustle, you're lazy. Society views the phone as a thief, something that steals our attention from the real world. But for a specific group of people, the deep thinkers, the high sensitivity individuals, and the introverts, the real world isn't always a gift. Often, it's a tax. Think about the mental energy required just to exist in public. Decision fatigue, sensory overload, the performance of being okay. By the time you get home, your social battery isn't just low, it's in the red. To understand why we do this, we need to meet three people who might sound very familiar to you. First, meet Sarah. Sarah is a 28-year-old marketing manager. Her entire day is spent processing. Constant pings on Slack, back-to-back Zoom calls, and the bright, sterile lights of the office. When Sarah gets home and scrolls through mindless organization videos or interior design photos, she isn't looking for information. She's looking for sensory gating control. On her phone, she can mute the noise. She can control the pace of information. For Sarah, the phone isn't a distraction from her life. It's a filter that makes her life bearable again. Then there's Marcus. Marcus is an expat living in a new city. He's lonely, but the idea of going to a mixer to meet strangers feels like a nightmare. Instead, Marcus scrolls through his favorite YouTube creators. He knows their stories, their jokes, and their faces. Psychologists call this parasocial interaction. Marcus is getting the hit of human connection he needs, but with zero social debt. He doesn't have to worry about being judged, being boring, or finding the right words to say. It's intimacy on his own terms. Finally, meet Elena. Elena loves what she calls the deep dive. At 1 a.m., you'll find her scrolling through the history of ancient lighthouses or the science of deep-sea creatures. For Elena, this isn't mindless. It's a state called information foraging. Her brain is in its most relaxed, creative state when it's allowed to wander without a goal. This aimless scrolling is actually when her best ideas for work or life finally have room to breathe. Why does this feel so good? It comes down to something called the default mode network, DMN, in your brain. This is the net focused on a specific task. For years, we thought the DMN was only active during daydreaming or staring at a wall. But recent studies suggest that passive scrolling can trigger a similar state. When you're scrolling through content that doesn't demand a response, like satisfying ASMR or nature photography, your brain moves from high alert mode to observer mode. You are effectively placing your nervous system in a digital buffer zone. You are engaging with the world, but through a protective layer of glass. You see the fire, but you don't feel the burn. So, let's stop the guilt. Choosing to be alone with your phone isn't an addiction if it's serving as your sanctuary. It's an act of radical self-preservation. In a world that is constantly screaming for a piece of you, your boss, your friends, your family, the news, the act of retreating into your own palm-sized universe is a way of saying, not right now. Right now, my attention belongs to me. If scrolling through a stranger's travel photos or watching cat videos for an hour is what helps you wake up tomorrow feeling like a whole person again, then that time was not wasted. It was invested in your peace. If you're watching this right now in your own quiet corner, take a deep breath. You are exactly where you need to be. What is your comfort scroll? What's that one weirdly specific corner of the internet that makes you feel safe? Is it vintage fashion, restoring old tools, or just watching people bake bread in the mountains? Let's turn the comments into a library of sanctuaries. Share yours below. If this video made you feel a little more seen, hit that subscribe button. Here at the Quiet Corner, we celebrate the thinkers, the stay-at-homers, and the beautifully weird psychology of being human. Stay quiet, stay curious, And most importantly, stay kind to yourself. I'll see you in the next corner.